please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Quick, call the roll, please.
Mezak. Here. Asbury.
Here.
Saunders.
Here.
Cochi.
Here.
Janutus.
Here.
Fluharty.
Here.
Can I have a motion to excuse Councilwoman Spinks? A motion from Mezak, second by Saunders. Call the roll, please.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
Janutus.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Council, you have the minutes of the work session of October 18th, 2021. Any corrections to that? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Fluharty, second by Asbury? Call the roll, please.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
Janutus.
Abstain.
Fluharty.
Yes.
And you have the minutes of the regular meeting of October 18th, 2021. Any corrections to that? Seeing none, motion for acceptance by Mezak, second by Asbury. Call the roll, please.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Yes.
Cochi.
Yes.
Janutus.
Abstain.
Fluharty.
Yes.
And under old business, we have ordinance number 9908-21.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 9657-18, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with the GPD Group for engineering services within the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
And it our wish to put that on second reading. I have a motion for such by Fluharty, second by Janutus. Call the roll, please.
Mezak.
Yes.
Asbury.
Yes.
Saunders.
Abstain.
Cochi.
Yes.
Janutus.
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
All right, reports. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple items to report this evening. Our service department, friendly reminder, is begun leaf collection. They will be making their rounds throughout the city. We'll increase the amount of crews that are out as the leaves continue to fall. Just friendly reminder, try to avoid getting those in the street, especially as they cause, they'll block catch basins and cause further issues. But we will be making the rounds. We'll go through the entire city more than once to collect the leaves. Tree lighting ceremony is scheduled for November 24th at 6 p.m. sharp down on the Commons. Staff have already started getting that ready. We were notified, Governor DeWine put out a press release last week. If you recall, a few months ago, we applied for over $2 million for various water projects, wastewater projects. That was part of a $250 million program that he was presenting. They released the first round, and unfortunately we were not awarded in the first round of projects. However, we are still in the queue. If you recall, Cuyahoga County had to list 10 of their primary projects that they got behind and supported, and one of those was our application. So we're still keeping our fingers crossed and are optimistic that some of those will be awarded, and we should hear more over the next few months. We did apply for a 50-50 matching grant through Cuyahoga County for preventative maintenance work. We were looking at doing some catch basin repairs. However, what the county funds is all of the materials. The match comes from labor costs, and the reconstruction of catch basins is very labor intensive, and it really didn't make sense. We felt we could get more more out of a different project, and we did apply for continued improvements to Egbert Road. If you recall, we did about $100,000 this year to some substantial concrete repairs. We're going to continue if we're successful with this grant. And then there's also some improvements to Solon Road that we'll be making. Also, discussing grants, I just want to give a quick congrats to the Parks and Recreation Department. They have worked to apply for a grant through Cuyahoga County for various various senior programs. And we were awarded. We're going to be getting over $50,000. Some of those funds will help offset transportation costs. Some of it will go towards meals, and then a substantial amount of that money will go towards additional new programs. So it's great news for the Parks Department. Great news for our seniors. So good things happening down there. And just one last update, we are meeting with ODOT officials this week to discuss the Broadway project, some improvements that we need to be making and going out to bid for. We'll also be discussing the resurfacing of Broadway, which is scheduled to begin next summer. And then we also have the items on the list that we've been speaking to them about, specifically Northfield Road and Northfield Road Bridge. So as we learn more from ODOT, I will prepare a memo to council with those updates. End of report.
Mike, would you speak on how did Halloween go?
Halloween went very well. Quite a bit of kids in certain areas. I want to give a quick shout out to our police department, especially Sarah Lloyd and some of the other staff. They worked throughout the week to fill up bags of candy, and the officers and auxiliary officers were distributing those. So it's just a great way to interact with the youth. And then as well, we had our Halloween event down at the Ellenwood Center. I appreciate you brought the good weather, I heard. And there were quite a bit of people that participated in that. And everybody down there did a tremendous job. Fire department was there, police department was there, a number of service personnel were there, and they really did a good job changing that event. And obviously outdoors, weather participating, it was really nice. So everything went well.
Yeah, that was a nice event they put on for the kids down there. My wife and I went through the little maze thing, and it had, I don't know, maybe 10 or so volunteers from the high school students up there that helped out. It was really nice. It's just clever how they set everything up and kept everything moving, and that was a good event. And, our thanks to the rec department for another good job down there. Mr. Law Director.
Thank you, Mayor. No report tonight, just hello, everybody.
And finance.
Yeah, Jennifer and I have been very busy this last month while I was on vacation. We were able to put together, through the assistance of Stifel, Nicholas, and their Public Funds Department, as well as Squire Sanders for our bond council, a refunding issue of our 2013 bond issue that we did back then, because just like you at your home, when your interest rates are going lower, you want to refinance. That's what we were looking at, anywhere we could save savings. Our 2014 issue did not come out where we could do savings, but we were analyzing our other bonds, and we were able to come up with an amazing interest rate of a bid from JP Morgan Chase at 1.58%, exceptional rate that they did on our city. I think anybody here would take that rate too if you had the chance. So we jumped on that right away. We will be finishing up with that. We'll be able to save around just under $400,000 of interest costs on our debt issues of water and sewer fund, and that'll help substantially as we go on through the about $23,450 a year in annual debt service schedule savings that we'll have. So kudos to the company doing the timing of that was excellent. The ratings of the city helped in that respect. but I appreciate the bid. All the other bids were quite high, and this one made it possible that we could actually do the refunding issue. So I appreciate all their efforts. They did a lot of the companies, and Jennifer and myself worked on that so that we could get to this nice rate. So very pleased at the outcome of this, and that'll be finalized on November 10th. So that's the end of my report this evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Mezak.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I just want to say thank you for all coming. And tonight, I have to, actually, I'm not a public speaker, but I've been a little bit uncomfortable with the subject. Last meeting of the first one in, the last one of October, we had a resident come up and air her concerns, but we had asked her to give her name and address, and she refused to give her address. And I just want to walk us down memory lane. This dais here, these people here, and myself included, I'm here with the most, I have the most seniority amongst all of us. But I am proud of that because I'm here for the people. We have over 100 years of experience of working with people. And when we take our oath, we commit ourselves to doing the right thing for the best quality of life for others and to follow all the rules and regulations set by the city, the state, and the federal government. We also follow Robert's Rules of Parliamentary Procedure. Now, I know a lot of these people, not you included, but people think that history began at 1900, maybe a little bit later than that. But we are history. We are people of history because our ancestors got us to where we are today. And I feel that if we want to have a question directed to us or anybody here, the least you can do is take a deep breath and do it the right way. Submit, give your name, give your address. Don't come with an attitude, because if you do, we're not going to deal with concern from you if you have an attitude, I don't think. I'm not sure, but I don't like what I saw. So I had to get this off my shoulder to get it to the point where we have to have manners no matter where we're at. When you're at that microphone or if we're at this microphone. So just please cooperate with our requests and do the right thing for everybody. We do a lot of work for not just our wards, we do it for the city and for the people that we represent. We have wonderful people in our city, and I hope we continue to go on from here and do it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Asbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Just very briefly tonight, because I know I tend to talk a little bit. Just want to remind everybody that tomorrow is Election Day. Polls open at 6:30 a.m., close at 7:30 p.m. Wards 1, 3, 5, and 6 vote at Ellenwood. Ward 2 votes at the high school, and Ward 4 votes at Glendale. So do your civic duty. If you haven't already cast your ballot, please do so tomorrow. And the Board of Election has announced, or the Board of Education has announced they will have a parent meeting Wednesday evening, 6:30 at the Bedford High School auditorium. I'm sure everybody knows what's been happening with the high school. They've shut it down now, and they're introducing some new security measures. Be open back up on November 29th, and they're looking for parent participation Wednesday evening, 6:30 at the high school auditorium. So if you have a child in school, and if you're concerned about what's going on, they're looking for your input. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders.
Good evening, everyone. I got a couple questions for Mike.
The first one being Union Street resurfacing. I know the county cut off part of Union Street where it runs into Broadway in the south section, but they have cut off the entire Taylor Road intersection. And if anything, that's the intersection that needed to be redone, because all the gas company did was grind off the surface and put a quick asphalt over it. That whole entire intersection's full of nothing but trenches that are gonna eventually work their way back through. And they should have at least cut through the Union portion of that intersection, but they skipped it. So we're gonna end up with patches down the road here in a few years on sections that they didn't do. Now, Taylor Road at one time was a county road, but it was vacated 60-some years ago. So it's not like they're gonna come back and do Taylor Road at a later date either. So if you could look into that and find out why they skipped the Taylor Road intersection, it would be nice. I know they used the county had cut off the Broadway end of Union up at the south end, which will probably be a triangle that never gets paved again because ODOT won't do it because it's not part of Broadway. So the county is dropping the ball on some of these resurfacing jobs by not completely doing the roadway. The next question is, do you have an idea when the new church is gonna open up at St. Eugene's?
I do not, no.
Because they've already replaced the signage
Yeah, we saw
and
the sign
said
go up.
coming soon.
They reached out to them last week when they saw the sign. We did.
Okay, so do you know if they're using the full facility or?
I do not. I'm waiting for that update and I'll share that once I get it.
Okay, because the neighborhood is happy in some ways because it won't be a housing development going in, but they're worried as to what the church will be containing and what they're gonna be doing too. So if you can get back to me when you find that out, I'll let the neighborhood know what's going on in that area. Just to make a quick comment on Halloween, it was nice to see how many people decorated this year, despite the COVID and pandemic that we've had the last few years. The neighborhoods really looked nice. My ward got hit especially hard with kids. The presidential area was bumper to bumper kids, if you want to put it that way. My street was the same way. I had over 40 kids at one time waiting in line to get to my house. But I expected that, but I didn't expect it in some of the other sections of the presidential area to be the same way. So it was also nice to see the auxiliary, because the one set up shop right in front of my house and passed out candy. So the kids got a bonus. Not only did they get it from the houses on the street, but they also got a little bag of goodies from the police, which I think is good PR for the police department, because our youth gets, I would just say, downgraded somewhat because they claim that they don't like the police and whatnot. But if we train them young that the police are there for their benefit, not for their detriment, I think it'll work out real well. But Halloween seemed to go over very, very well. And most of the people didn't park their cars on the street. There were still a few that did there, which caused traffic backups in some cases. But it was a great evening. So now onward to Christmas and our lighting ceremony on the square. That will be the next real big event in town, and hope everybody shows up for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eugene'S.
Thank you. Just a point of clarity here. In the hearing of citizens, it is permissible that people outside of the city of Bedford come and address the council, is that correct?
Yeah. As long as they give their name, address, and their comment.
Okay. Just want to make that clear. Also, just want to say Halloween was very quiet at my house. I didn't give away any candy. No one came. Of course, my house is pretty scary. It's like the Addams Family, so I think it's too scary. And also, you mentioned the being in the maze. So you got out of the maze, right, because you're here.
Well, it was only one level high, so I wasn't too worried about it.
You were taller than that. Then lastly, though, we're going to vote on a couple of things on, in our agenda here. F, it says a motion to accept the Board of Zoning Appeals decision to accept Mr. Stephen Balser, et cetera, request for variance. But as I'm looking at the minutes from the Board of Zoning Appeals regular session, October 26th, it says that in the roll call there were no yays, and they were all nays. So I'm wondering if we are actually motion to accept the decision to deny his request. I'm confused about that, and likewise the same holds true for G. So we know that we're not confused how to vote on that.
Hold on one second.
So many of them.
They were both unanimous.
It's just the minutes that's wrong.
It's just the minutes. It's right on. The legislation's correct. They were,
The legislation's correct and the minutes are in error?
yeah, the minutes are.
Okay, so in both cases, both F and G, the Board of Zoning Appeals accepted the request in both
Correct.
cases. Okay, so their agenda is indeed correct.
The agenda is correct, and both of those items were passed by that board. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you very much. End of report.
But thanks for that, Lloyd. Mr. Fluharty.
I just want to remind everybody, of course, to go vote tomorrow. Ellenwood for Ward 3. And the reason I didn't have many kids, because I sent them over to Saunders House, that's why he had. So, enjoyed handing out all the candies. End of report.
Well, that was kind of short and sweet, thank you. And also a reminder, this Saturday night, turn your clocks back. Check your fire, your smoke alarms, change the batteries.
Can I ask one more?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to wish our group that's running tomorrow good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we got that. Okay, let's get on with business then. Ordinance number 9913-21.
An ordinance amending our prior ordinance, making additional appropriations for current expenditures of the city of Bedford during the year 2021 and declaring an emergency. Adjusting the budget, basically.
I have a motion for acceptance by Mezak, second by Asbury. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Fluharty, second by Asbury.
I'll take this.
Yeah.
We're updating our ordinances, as you know, our budget has many changes throughout the year. Recently, we just finished some police negotiations, and in line with that, I've increased the payrolls accordingly in the city, as our original budget had no increases. So all the personal service lines will reflect that. In line with also this, we had a couple of, I'll just hit the major points here. The NOPEC advances, we have all these grants that are coming in from various sources, and we will not be reimbursed perhaps by the end of the year, so it will allow council to allow us to appropriate or transfer advance out to the grants fund up to $100,000 if need be to cover those costs until we get reimbursed for the grants on that. Also, our health insurance funds needs an additional $160,000. Our claims are very high this year. We got some major hits on the from our employees and their dependents. Some of the other items, we had some other grants in the first suburbs that we're increasing our budget for. Our CDS Street County grant was increased, we got up to $50,000, we're increasing for that. And the refuse fee, the new contract costs that are coming in, we're already going to be looking at an increase this year of an extra $35,000. So at this point, I'll have council appropriate that. Earlier, I talked about the refunding issue. When we look at the big figures that are here for the water and sewer fund, 500 and 501 funds, we have the $1 million that's going to be refunded into escrow for the, it's $1,120,000 for the water bonds, and $2,235,000, which will be for the refunding for the sewer fund. We also have some costs of issuance that will be included in there, as well as pretty much a couple of projects that we had to finish up in the capital project. So I ask council to approve this evening, as we'll have our budgets updated. Since this has happened, there's been a couple other updates that we'll update as we go between now and the end of the year. So, keeping up with all the things we've been doing.
Good, thank you. Questions? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 9914-21.
Did we vote on that? Was that for suspension?
No, we had a third and final.
Okay, good. All right. Ordinance number 9914-21, being an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and expenditures of the city for the year 2022 and declaring an emergency.
It's our wish to put that on first reading. We need to have 3 readings by the end of the year, but because it's the budget and there's still some moving parts to it, we do it in 3 separate readings just so we can get all the numbers correct. One thing I want to do, first I want a motion for first reading by Fluharty, second by Janutus. Before we vote, did you want to say something, Frank?
Just to mention that the process, Jeff, I've been working on it this year, and the process that we've been doing with the two of us is we go through and we go through the departments, we go through line by line what their spending levels were, and then council goes through the same process with the different departments. And while this is being on first reading, council is already starting to review with the other departments, so that by the time we get to 3 readings, we've already reviewed this whole budget and any adjustments or amendments to it with the departments by the time we're finished. So I just want to make that clear how we do the process.
No, I just want to say one thing. We're looking at a budget of $39 million. Several years back, our budget was $44 million. So I just take that as a testament to the good work that our finance director and our assistant director, Jen, have been doing, and all the department heads and the administration, keeping our costs down and actually cutting costs. We're $5 million less than we were several years ago. Had things continued from that $44 million, we'd probably been looking at a $50 million budget. we're at $39 million, and I think that's a great responsibility that finance, administration, and all of us have on keeping that budget intact and not having frivolous spending or anything. So I think that's really a great thing that we can do for 39 million, what we've been doing. So I just want to say thanks to the finance department for all these numbers, and again, need a vote just on the first reading, please.
Mezak?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Ordinance number 9915-21.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to purchase a John Deere 1200A bunker and field rake for the Parks and Recreation Department and declaring an emergency.
And again, we want to put this on first reading. Okay, I have a motion for such by Mezak, second by Saunders. And there's some things we want to look in on this piece of equipment, so can I have a call the roll, please?
Mezak?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Janutus?
No.
Fluharty?
Yes.
And first motion, number D.
Can we get a motion to accept the planning commission's decision to accept Dominique Nettles' request for a conditional use approval to allow the tenant space located at 401 Broadway Avenue, the former Dairy Queen space, to be used as a daycare center. The center will be open 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday, with three shifts per day.
And just a reminder, the planning commission accepted it. So a yes vote means you agree with the planning to accept it, a no vote means you don't agree. Any questions? Call the roll, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion for acceptance by Fluharty, second by Janutus.
Mezak?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Ms. Nettles here? Okay, well,
You want to comment?
if you wait, I just want to say thanks. You're,
Congratulations.
You're welcome. I had planned. I didn't know if you guys were going over the layout or not.
no, the layout, that'll go through building department and all that.
Okay.
We don't get into those specifics. And,
It was just in case we had some questions, but they were cool with it.
Okay, thank you.
so yeah, so from now you'll deal with the building department and, health, you know who you have to deal with to get you've been doing this for a while.
Yes, this will be my second location.
Okay, very good, thank you. Motion E.
We get a motion to accept the planning commission's decision to accept Power Home Solars, who is representing Mr. Jason Reed of 38 John Street, who is requesting a zoning permit to install roof-mounted solar panels on the rear only, I understand, of the dwelling unit, and on the garage roof, with the change to having the solar panels to the, well, just to the rear of the home only. So they would just be the garage and the rear of the home.
Motion to accept, Janutus, second by Fluharty. Mr. Reed here?
I believe there's a representative here, Mr.
Somebody representing Mr. Reed?
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe not, okay.
No? Okay. I just wanted to make sure they knew that the original thing we had, it was gonna be front and rear, now it's just gonna be rear. That was all decided on in the planning commission.
Yes, sir.
So we're all clear on that. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mezak?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Saunders?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Janutus?
Yes.
Fluharty?
Yes.
Letter F.
Can we get a motion to accept the Board of Zoning Appeals decision to accept Stephen Balser of 82 Pinecrest Drive request for a variance from the requirements of ordinance 903.02 D4 A and B concerning the number of driveway aprons, which in part states each lot shall have only one driveway. He is requesting 2. Can we get a motion to that effect?
A motion for such by Asbury, second by Eugene'S.
But he is here if anybody has any questions.
Mr. Balser's here? Yes, Donnie.
Yes, I'm not gonna vote in favor of this because one, it's too close to the steep slope across the street, which falls into a riparian zone, and any construction within 100 feet of a steep slope shouldn't be done. The current driveway wouldn't have been built under today's regulations on the county end anyway, but that house was built long before the stormwater management regulations went through on the county. There's plenty of room up on top, which falls out of the zone, to do any widening or whatnot that they need there. This is a zoned residential area, and there's a reason we have one driveway per residential home. And in this case, I think one driveway is more than sufficient. The house was bought a few years ago, knowing the current condition of what they bought. And because of that, I feel that this shouldn't be granted. Thank you.
Is there comments? Hearing none? Call the roll, please.
Mezak,
No.
Asbury,
No.
Saunders,
No.
Cochi,
No.
Eugene'S,
Yes.
Fluharty,
No.
Motion G.
Motion G is a motion to accept the Board of Zoning Appeals decision to accept Diane Bija, I'm sorry if I said it wrong, Bija's request on behalf of New Creation Builders Amish Garage's request on her behalf at 55 Meadowgate Boulevard for a request for a 3-foot variance from the rear property line, which requires a minimum 6-foot and 6-inch variance from the required side yard setback of 3 foot from the, as required by City of Bedford Codified Ordinance 1947-07A in order to construct a new 20 by 25 2-car detached garage. And both the side and rear wall will be a 1-hour fire rated assembly. BZA approved it, and can we get a motion to that effect?
Motion for acceptance by Saunders, second by Asbury. What I understand, none of the neighbors objected to this. Is there anybody here from, that's right, Ms. Bija? Oh, you're the homeowner, okay. And I understand at the meeting, nobody was against you doing this. No. And I think we had a phone call to the building commissioner that from the neighbor, they didn't object to it, so I don't see any reason that I would object to it. So call the roll.
Mezak,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Eugene'S,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
You have a new garage? And of course, you'll fall under all the building codes and all that from it, so. Thank you. And now it comes to that part of the hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak, please come forward, state your name, your address, and your comment. Seeing none? Now, motion for adjournment. By Fluharty, second by Eugene'S. Clerk, call the roll.
Mezak,
Yes. Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Saunders,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Janutus,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Well, thank you all for coming.